Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another book review. Now today's book review is going to be over His Dark Nights by Jamie Hawk. Now this is published by Double Down Press. Its genre is epic fantasy, Arthurian legend, and harem lit. You could call this alternative history if you really wanted to, but not really. I wouldn't consider it that, at least. Now the premise here is that King Arthur is a vampire. He is controlled by this evil curse put on him by Merlin, the wizard, and he must escape and then overthrow Merlin for both revenge and the good of Camelot and, the wider world, because it's an epic fantasy. That means there's a morally gray to good guy fighting against the encroaching evil that comes for everyone, kind of. And yeah, this was a really interesting story. I really like the cover, first of all. And the story itself was really good. It took me a while to read it, and it's because every time I started to read it, I was like, you know what? This requires special attention, and I'm not really feeling it, and I don't want to sour my experience for it just because I wasn't mentally prepared. So I put it off a couple days. I came back to it, and I basically read it in one day. I started it last night. I got through half of it, I think, and then I finished it this morning. Now, so took me, 5 hours to read it, maybe? Probably less than that, like 3 to 4. And before I do get to the evaluation, I do want to mention that Jamie Hawk has a Twitter, which is really cool because you can interact with him a bit. I interacted with him earlier today because I was remembering that he has a Kickstarter, or he will have a Kickstarter for Volume 2 of the series, which is already in the works. And I'll be supporting that Kickstarter myself. I'm not sure at what level yet, but I will at least give him a bit of my money because I was really interested and really happy with this. I thought that was really cool. So check out his Kickstarter. I'll leave it down in the description, and I'll leave his Patreon in the description as well. He does manga on there, and his Patreon, you can sign up for that, and depending on what tier you are, he sends you chapters of his manga that he releases weekly. And I saw a panel or two, can't remember where, I think it was on his Twitter, and I thought it looked really nice, so I might check that out. And yeah, so the evaluation now. So the plotline here is very good. It's very fun. It's, fun isn't the right word. It's very enjoyable. It's action-packed, dark, gritty. Our main character comes off a bit lonely in his quest, and it's rather sexy, spicy, smutty, whatever you want to call it. It's very good. So, I really enjoy the twist of Arthur being a demon or a bad guy or something that we consider evil. There's also werewolves and a lot of magical things. And I really enjoy that. I thought it was a really cool twist, and it really lends itself to an interesting story. We don't see Arthur as a wonderful, good king doing good kingly things. We see Arthur as a lonely, depressed, very downtrodden individual trying to get revenge on someone that ruined his life. And that was very interesting. I also like how he still has that, like, kingly, very good, honest value for life, even though he's a vampire, and that, like, moralistic high ground that we expect from good king characters. So it was really cool. I thought the execution was really nice, and the traditional Arthurian / English mythology was really well incorporated. We start off the book with Arthur fighting a knight that's green, so the Green Knight, I think that's what that was referencing. I'm not really sure though. But it was really cool. And then there's a lot of other stuff. The incorporation of the Arthurian legend was really nicely done. But I don't want to really actually talk that much about the plotline. In fact, I really want to minimize mentioning it as much as possible because I don't want to spoil it. This just came out about a week and a half ago, and it's available on Amazon. It's both physical and digital. I think digital is available on Kindle Unlimited, or you can buy it for $5, I think. And the physical is available for $20 right now. The characters here are probably my favorite aspect. Arthur is obviously a good guy, but because he's a vampire, he actually leans more gray, less good, and more like in between. He's not evil. He doesn't go all in with his vampire instincts. He doesn't destroy everyone, although he does kill if necessary. And he's not immensely morally good. He's not a saint. He's very much in between, a little bit towards dark. I thought that was really interesting, really cool. We have a few other characters. We have Ciri and Raynon, which are Arthur's women consorts. Okay, so Arthur, according to, the regular story, is in love with Guinevere, and Guinevere does show up in this book, but she's kind of the reason why Arthur is far away, why he's not under the control of Merlin anymore. And in the process of that, he gets to meet Ciri and Raynon, and they are both vampire women. They both were slaves to another wizard, the same way Arthur was. And they both serve different aspects of Arthur's persona, of Arthur's needs as a person, as a vampire, I guess. And they're kind of his, first members of the harem. We also have Neris, I don't know how to say her name, who's a wolfkin, which is a type of werewolf-esque person, because there's regular werewolves that turn into giant wolves. There's two types of wolfkin, if I remember correctly. There's one that's like a wolf man. He's like a failed experiment. And then the wolfkin that are like Neris, who are like traditional wolfmen, or like skin skinwalkers, that have wolf-like skin, I guess. I'm not really sure, actually. I think that's correct. Don't quote me on that. Read for yourself and find out, I guess. And then we have Garand. I don't know. He's Arthur's sidekick. So it's really interesting. I really like all the characters. I like how they interact with each other. I like what they mean to each other. Arthur, Ciri, and Raynon have a very interesting connection with each other. And Garand, I'm not really sure how to say his name. Him and Arthur are connected in a different way as well. There's obviously lots of secondary characters. We see Lancelot, Guinevere, Merlin, Morgana, Mordred, everyone that you can think of that's associated with the Arthurian legend shows up at one point. And they all do different things. Anyway, I like the relationship building. I think at this point, it's normal. I'm going to complain about the fact that the relationships develop really quickly in all of these harem books. And yes, I know it's harem and has to happen quickly so that you can get to the good stuff quickly. I understand that. However, it would be better if it took a little bit longer to get there before it happened, so that the payoff is better. Now, it does happen with one of the characters. One of the characters takes the whole book to get comfortable with the idea of, being in a harem. But Ciri gets into it really quickly, immediately, like literally they meet and they're already doing their thing. Similar to Neris, although with Neris it kind of makes sense. It was part of the plot line. It wasn't just like okay, you're attractive, I'm attractive, let's do the thing. It wasn't just that. It was plotline elements that caused it to happen. Oh God, I can't talk. Okay, so it wasn't just that. It was like plotline based. Things happened, and the plotline forced them to have a relationship in order to advance the plot, which is interesting. Really good work, because it makes sense within the context of the story and the world. So kudos on that. Now, the world building, mostly magic based. I think the ability to use Arthur and Camelot and medieval England, more or less, or medieval Europe in general as your setting is really interesting, it's really good because it allows you to focus on other things. So this book the world building in this book mostly focuses on the magic, on the difference between this type of magic versus that type of magic, blood magic, shadow magic, what other stuff, paladin magic turned bad, paladin magic that's good, and a lot of different magical beasts and people, and all of the effects that magic can have on things. So I thought that was really interesting. I liked that there was a lot of creatures that were not normal. Like, they weren't the usual unicorns, fae, normal werewolves, normal vampires. It was variation. There was different things. The vampires here actually kind of look more like elves, but really long fangs. They have pointy ears. And there was gargoyles, these kind of like demigod things. There's mentions of dragons. There's a lot of stuff, and I was really happy with the world building because it was interesting. It was a bit fresh, and it wasn't really bogging down the story, which I think is probably my favorite aspect of fantasy haremlit. It's that the fantasy is more of a backdrop. It's not really the point of the story. So you get to experience all those fun things that you like from fantasy without having to deal with pages and pages and pages of description of settings like you would in The Wheel of Time, which is one of my favorite series right now, but I can see that it's kind of difficult to read for the average person. Now, that's it for the world building. It was enjoyable as hell. I really liked all of it. Now, fan service, the good spicy stuff. So yes, there was fan service. Yes, it was good. Although sometimes I felt it was a little bit confusing. There was moments where, okay, so one-on-one, it makes sense. Two-person relationships were fine. It's just when you added a third or fourth or whatever the case may be, it started to get confusing as to where everyone was positioned. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, you understand the general premise. They're doing their thing. It's just like, huh? Like, you're there, you're reading, and then you're like, wait, how does that kind of work? How does that look? And it's not a really big problem or anything. It was just the thing I noticed that I wanted to mention, I guess. Now, if this was turned into a manga, it would be a lot easier to understand because you would be seeing it. Although I don't know if this would be turned into a manga. I think Jamie is focusing on different things right now for his comic book manga thing that he's doing. But this would be interesting. So yeah, pretty good stuff in general. It was really interesting how it kind of worked. The relationship was good. There was a lot of emotional aspects to it. It wasn't all just like I said earlier, you're hot, I'm hot, let's be hot together kind of thing. It was a little bit more than that. So I was happy with that. Even beyond the fact that the relationships got too serious too fast, in my opinion. But like I say in every one of these videos, it's par for the course, so it's fine. Okay, so time for the rating. Oh, well, actually, before that, the art. So there's no art beyond the cover. However, if you do join the Kickstarter, you do have access to art pieces that are not safe for work, that you can have. I'm not sure if those art pieces include characters from this book, but it's an option. Because they're different characters from all types of different series that Jamie Hawk has, which are a lot, and a lot of them seem very interesting. But there's none in this book beyond the cover. So, rating, I would say this is a 5 out of 5. Yeah, this is a 5 out of 5 or a 10 out of 10. This is my favorite haremlit book I've read so far. Actually, it might be tied between this one and Soulbinder, but I think the premise here is a lot more interesting than the premise in Soulbinder, at least to me as a fan of Arthurian legend type of stuff. So this is a 5 out of 5. Now, I feel like I should add a caveat, but I can't really think of one, so 5 out of 5, that's it. My favorite haremlit book so far. I'm really excited to try out more haremlit and see where it goes. So if anyone has recommendations, please shoot me a message on Instagram or Twitter or Reddit or on the comment section. I don't care. Just shoot me a message somewhere. Let me know what your recommendations are, and I will be happy to check them out at some point. Now, that's it. I definitely recommend this. I think this is a fun story. Even if you're not into the Hamlet genre, treat this as a paranormal alternative version of the Arthurian legend, and you're basically solid. It won't really change that much of a in how you read it. Just because it's Hamlet doesn't make it less or more. It's just a slightly different take on general writing. So yeah, similar titles. The author recommends Dracula and Castlevania. I would also say that things like a lot of paranormal romance would probably work here as well. Like, you know, the type that's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but for adults. I can't remember the author that does books like that. She wrote something, The Chronicles of Nick. I can't, what is it? Shara Kenyon, I think? Something like that. Books like those, I think, would probably work better, or would be similar to this. Not exactly, obviously, because this is an epic fantasy and that's urban fantasy, but more or less similar styles, in my opinion. Now, that's it for me. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Please support the author. Shoot him a couple dollars, buy his books, enjoy them, and leave him reviews, please. Those are really helpful for everyone, for us as readers, because we get to express our gripes or our love for the stories, for the author, because he gets to know what people liked and what people didn't, and he gets to hone his craft. So that's it for me. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you guys later.